Let's turn to some of the planes of congruence that you talked about earlier. I'm going to read this statement in question pretty much verbatim.
Hmm.
Mark, boards in America can be defined as pale, male, and stale. How can we change? I love that, right? How can we change that and introduce diversity into the boardroom? And the question goes on to relay some stats about Hispanics and Latinos. I think we can look at women as well and ask the question, where is their bias? How can we overcome the obstacles? And what are the best approaches to doing that?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's true at that. So I will say the following first and foremost. My life for the last year and a half has been focused on what I view as the seed point at which we need to change this whole viewpoint of how a board is built. And that I'll go back to this term of architecture. It's not by chance that my book coming out next month, and again, I go back to almost a year and a half of work on this. The book is entitled Across the Board: The Modern Architecture Behind an Effective Board of Directors. That architecture, one of those pieces is exactly what I have up on the screen right now, which is the horizontal considerations of the planes of congruence. I believe that most, if not all, boards have not focused on the architecture that sits even before they start approaching people and saying, well, this person's name I know, they've been successful, I want to approach them. That to me, you've already missed all of the fundamental architecture pieces of a board to be built absolutely properly from the ground up, from the foundation. So a major piece of that to me is the diversity. The diversity should be built into the architecture before you even start thinking of names, skill sets, or even people specifically. Focus on the architecture first. And honestly, my life for the last year and a half, between my speaking engagements, my writings and my articles and my lectures, I have been an extreme advocate of this architecture being viewed first if you're in the early stages of building a board for the first time, or implementing this architecture even for a company that's been around for 100 years. You can actually reverse architect this into your board, so as you bring new board members into the fold of that board, you can make sure you're meeting those diversity requirements. And understand, I don't view any of these as a quota in any way. The boards that I work with or that I sit on that are most successful, they are by far the most diverse boards. So there's an absolute correlation to the effectiveness and the value of those boards that corresponds back to the diversity on those boards.